He asked Jesus into his heart. I wanted to do the same thing, and so I went down with me and some of my friends, and that was the beginning of my journey with Jesus. So then, by the time I got to like junior high, it was like the best day ever. When all of a sudden, at a youth group deal, they pull out the puppets, and we're going to get to learn some puppetry ourselves. And so you learn like only move the bottom thumb to make it realistic. People don't talk like this, you got to make the puppet come to life, and it's all in that bottom thumb there. And man, I could sing some songs with a puppet, I tell you that. So never underestimate power of puppetry.
One of my favorite memories is when the church did a Christmas Eve service, a live nativity scene. So the preacher would read the scriptures as kids dressed in costumes would act out the birth of Jesus and that whole scene. So picture this, kids in homemade costumes with their sneakers sticking out the bottom, acting out the nativity. I guess one of the angels was not so happy with the shepherds, and so the shepherds were supposed to be kneeling at this particular time, but instead they were standing. I guess they couldn't remember, and so now they're arguing on stage, not realizing that we can see this, arguing whether they should be kneeling or standing, and so now they're tugging on each other's costumes, and that turns into a shoving match, and now these kids are wrestling on the floor. The angel jumps in, and it's this big wrestling match on the stage for the live nativity scene. It was hysterical. So imagine homemade costumes with sneakers flying everywhere, the staff, the whole 9 yards. Oh, the little halo, the wings, all, yeah, it was chaotic. I don't know for sure, but I think those kids are in jail now.
So I grew up in the church, and one of my very first memories was actually running the laminator machine that projected the lyrics on the wall for the congregation to see. My dad was the worship leader. He played guitar, he sang, and I would stand behind him and just slide the sheet so that people could read the words, and that was my favorite thing that I got to do every single week when I was a kid.
One of the funniest things about growing up in church in Kentucky was you would go to summer camps and we would play, you'd play ultimate frisbee, right? No, not in Kentucky. In Kentucky you play ultimate chicken. You take a chicken with a bunch of crazy teenagers. Ultimate frisbee. Sip of frisbee. Use raw chicken. It's a nasty, disgusting game you could ever play. And I found Jesus through ultimate chicken frisbee.
I remember growing up in church, and there was one time in particular that I got left after church. It was the kind of thing where like mom thought that I was with dad, and dad thought that I was with mom. It was me and a couple other kids, and we got locked in church. And church is a great place, but when all the lights are out and you're there by yourself, it's probably one of the scariest places in the world. I remember that I got left, and we opened one of the doors and set the church alarm off, and my dad got the call that the church had gotten broken into, but it was really just his kid.
I have a bunch of funny stories growing up in church, but I think the craziest one for me is that, okay, so one Sunday morning, I really wanted to be a drummer. I never wanted to sing in my entire life, but I wanted to play drums. So I was playing drums for my youth worship band, and the worship leader, he never showed up one Sunday morning, and my worship pastor was like, hey, we've got nobody to fill in, you're gonna have to do it because you know all the songs. And I was so terrified because I had never sang in front of anybody in my entire life and kind of got peer pressured into it. But it's honestly the reason why I'm here today. After that morning, I felt like my youth pastor and everybody that was a part of my youth group really encouraged me into continuing on with this, and that's why I'm here today.
We loved it, but everyone just knew that we were always getting into trouble. One time, me and the worship leader's kid, of course the worship leader's kid, we started a game, this is terrible, we started a game of freeze tag on the roof of the church.
Oh my gosh.
As I've heard later, my dad just started going off on parenting and how people weren't in charge of their kids.
Oh boy.
Whoever's kids these are running around, this is embarrassing.
need some discipline.
Oh, boy.
He found out it was his kids. I have never been spanked so hard.
Hey, one of the things you're going to hear us talk a lot about at Big Church Night Out is diversity. We celebrate